Hey guys, welcome back to the last video of the Barnabas Rover, at least for this series. So what I want to do today is combine a little bit of everything that we learned into one single program. And the way we're going to do that, I'm going to design it so that every time we press the button here, it does something new. So the first time I press the button, I want it to just turn on and blink a few times. And then I press it again. I want it to sense light and move based on light. And then I'll press it again. Want it to avoid obstacles with the ultrasonic sensor. And then lastly, press it again. And it should be able to follow the line following here. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll kind of talk through it and write some comments, and we'll code at the same time. It should be fun and not be too hard because we've done most of this code already. It's just really putting it together. So this is code from the last video. All this code right here does line following. So if you need a refresher on that, you can look at the previous video. For now, I'm just going to go ahead and copy it, actually highlight it and cut it because I'm going to use it later. Okay, so I'm going to create a function called void line follower. Okay, and just paste my code right here. All right, so I'm going to use that later, but now I have my loop here and it's got nothing in it. Great. So the first thing I want to do in the loop is I want to wait for a button press before I do my LED blinks, right? So let's go ahead and do that. I use a while loop, while digital read 2, which is my button pin, equal high, do nothing. Okay. And then what I want to do, I'm going to add a delay here. We've played with this in the past. I'm going to wait 1 second. So right after you press the button, I want it to wait 1 second before it does anything. And that just kind of, it gives us a little buffer so that whatever we want to happen doesn't happen too quickly. And it also helps the robot not get confused. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a second, but it's good to put that delay in there. So let's just put it in there for now. Again, I'll tell you more in a little bit. So delay 1000, which is a second, and then I want to blink my lights. So let's write a for loop for that. So for in I equals 0. So I have a variable with I with the value of 0. All right, I'm going to do my semicolons here. 2 semicolons. Right here I do I++, so that means I want to increment I by 1 each time I go through the loop. And then inside the, in between the 2 semicolons, I say how long I want to do it for. I want to keep looping as long as I is less than 5. Okay? Then I'm going to do my curly braces, and then this is where I put my code. Like, what do I want to do each time it loops? Well, I want it to turn on and off my light. So digital right 7, which is my light pin, low. I'm going to delay 100, digital right 7, high, delay 100. Okay. All right, so why am I putting it low here and then high here? A lot of times I do the blinking code, I do high here and then low here. Well, it's just a little trick. I want my light to stay on after my for loop goes through it and does its thing. Okay, so this line right here, this is the last digital write command that runs before my for loop finishes, right? So if I had low down here, it would actually blink 5 times and then just turn off because the last command is low. We actually want the last command to be high, so it will stay on so that I can enjoy the light while my robot's doing the other stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this. Make sure that it works. Okay, I have some previous code on there. I'm not gonna worry about that for now. Cool. Okay, it is uploaded. I'm going to change views here so that you can see. My light's a little bit dim, so I'm just going to update the view so you can make make sure you can see this. Okay, I'm going to press the button. And you can see it blinked 5 times and stayed on. Again, it's a little faint, but I was looking. I think you should be able to tell that it did blink 5 times. Okay, great. So that's super easy. Let's go back and do some more, right? All right, so it blinks 5 times. Now after that, I want to wait again. So I'm gonna wait for button to trigger light sensing. Okay. So I need another one of these while loops. You know what? I'll just copy this. All that. Copy and paste it there. Okay. I'm gonna get rid of these extra lines too, just to clean up our code. Okay. So I'm gonna wait for the button to trigger light sensing. All right. So once I press the button again, the second time, it's gonna wait 1000, and then it's gonna do my light sensing code. So let's write that. So my light sensing code is connected to the A0 analog input. So I'm gonna say if analog read A0 is less than something, I want to go forward. So I want my car to move forward when it's less than some number. And then if analog read A0 is greater than some number, I want it to stop. Okay. So the some number is the one that we need to figure out. What's the right number to put in there so that when I turn it off, my lamp, so if you look at my video there, turn it off, my A0 will be reading something. When I turn it on, A0 will be reading something. So I did some testing earlier. I found that my number is actually 180. So whenever I turn the light on, the A0 is reading less than 180, and then when I turn my light off, my A0 is reading greater than 180, and that's when I want it to stop. Okay, and again, your number will be different from mine, so you'll need to do some testing on what your A0 reads when your light is on and off. If you need a refresher on that, you can look at the previous video, okay? All right, so now we have that. Let's think about this. Okay, the other thing that I want to point out here is we want this thing to actually keep going, right? I don't want to just look at analog read one time. I don't want to just do this. I want this to keep happening, keep sensing the light. For now, I guess we want to keep sensing until I press the button again, right? So I could do something like this. What if I did this? While digital to read to equal high, and then do my curly braces, take all this stuff here and put it inside there. And let me fix my indenting because this is hard to read. So this needs to be, you know what? Let me do this. Sorry about that. Sometimes this gets a little tricky. Okay. There we go. And I think I see what's going on here. This should all be moved over like that. Okay. All right, there we go. So we have this going on. So what does this mean? So this while loop at this second, actually third while loop now in my code, what this is saying is while my button is not pressed, just keep doing this. Okay. So what's going to happen is right here, it's going to wait for me to press the button. then it's gonna wait 1 second and then jump to this loop to do this. All right. And now earlier I said, why do we need this extra delay here? Remember? Like, what if we just took that out and did that? So your code may work sometimes, may not work sometimes. The reason why is that if you have a while loop here looking for the button, and then you have a while loop right after it looking for a button, your code's just gonna get confused. So what you want to do is put a delay in there, okay? So that once it detects that you press the button, it's just gonna do nothing for at least a second. Sorry, it's gonna do nothing for exactly 1 second, and then it'll start looking for the button stuff again. Okay, if you don't have this delay, it's gonna look for the button and then right away look for the button again. So if you kind of just left your finger pressing the button for longer than a second or even less than a second, it will get confused and say, well, what do you want me to do? Which while loop did you want me to look at? Is it the first one or second one? Okay, so we put that delay in there so that the code doesn't get confused. All right, so let's see if this works. All right, let me upload. Okay, let's go to the big screen here. Okay, so I have pressed my button and the light should to blink 5 times. Cool. Then I press it again and this light sensing code should hopefully work. Okay, it's moving, and I'm gonna turn my, yep, it is working. It is working flawlessly. Awesome. Okay, and then what I should do, I think, is if I press it again, what's going to happen? Let's look at my code. Okay, so right now it's doing this stuff, right? So if I press it again, then it should jump out of the while loop and then go back to the beginning. So let's try that. Okay, I'm just gonna leave my code large so you can see it. So I'm gonna press it again. And then it went to do the light. Now, I don't know if you caught that. I pressed the button, so it was stuck in here doing my light sensing code, right? Then I pressed the button again, and I don't know if you noticed, but my light started blinking right away. But it shouldn't do that, right? It should go here first. It should first do nothing. But instead it skipped this and went straight to here. Okay, the reason why is I should put a delay 1000 after this. Okay? Same thing we talked about before. All right. So after the waiting for a button, if you just put a delay 1000 after that code, it's probably a good rule. Okay? Okay. So very good. Okay. So then now after we wait for the button to trigger the light sensing, then we want to press the button again. Then it comes down to this line here, 319. So I'm going to say at this point I want to move let's do this, avoid obstacles. Okay. All right. So then how do I avoid obstacles? Well, let's take a look at what code we have. Well, remember that we do have a move to wall. A move to wall function, right? Which is gonna keep going straight until it sees something that is less than 5 away, and then it's gonna stop. Okay, so let's see if we can put that in there. All right, so we're gonna we're gonna do our whole loop thing again, our while loop thing. Digital read 2 equal high, move to wall. Okay. And let's me double check. Did I need to put speed in there? Yes, I did. Okay, I'll just put 200, 200, let's say. Okay, so we're gonna move both wheels at 200. All right, so I have moved to wall. And then it's gonna keep doing that until when? Until I press the button and then I put my delay 1000 there. All right, let's see what happens now. And I got 3 things happening here in sequence. Okay. Okay, so I should press the button. I got light blinking. Cool. Press the button, then I got light sensing movement. All right, and then I press the button again, and hopefully it should do my obstacle avoidance. And it seems like it's just going forward. So let's double check. Let's double check to see what's going on here. Okay, so I think I see a bug here. So if you look at this, my move to wall, I call move to wall over and over and over again, right? So as long as I don't press the button, move to wall just keeps going. So if I look at move to wall, what's going to happen here, move to wall, is that it's going to detect an object and then it's going to stop. But then what I say is keep going right away. So it's going to stop when it sees something, I think, and then right away just keep going without even giving me any delay. So I think that's why it just looks like it just keeps going and going. So let's go ahead and fix that. I'm going to say after I detect, like move to a wall, I'm going to delay 1000. Okay. So let's wait 1000 and then let's also back up maybe. Yeah, let's move backward. For, I don't know, 500 milliseconds, let's say. And then stop. Okay, so now I should see that it should stop at the wall, wait a second, move backwards for a little bit, and then stop, and then keep going. All right, let's try this out. Okay. Okay, here's my first press, LED. Then I do my light sensing. That's working. Then I press again. And it's working now. Cool. And then the next thing that we want to do is I want to press it again and then make it do line following. So let's think about how to do that. Okay. Let me go back to the code view. And so one thing you can add here, right, or not just one thing, several things. You can make it move backwards and turn, or whatever you want it to do. But I'm just gonna leave mine just saying it's gonna move backwards, and then stop. So the next thing I want to think about is like, okay, I want to be able to get out of this loop, right? So whenever I press the button, I want it to jump out of this loop, and then I want it to go to line following mode. Okay. And then maybe I'll just have it end there. That's kind of like the final thing. So let's see if I go, here's my code here, line follower. Awesome. And then I'll just say while 1 equals 1, which is always, do line follower. Okay. So the way I'm going to do it is that once it gets to that last part, it's just going to do line following forever. And then if I want it to go back to the beginning, I would just have to, reset, right? Because I kind of like the line following. That would be the coolest thing, I think, to kind of show off at the end. Now, the way I have my code right here, I'm concerned that I will never jump out of this loop. Okay. The reason why is this. If I look at move to wall, here we go. I want you to kind of look at the code and think about where might it get stuck. Well, if you look here, there's a while loop here. It will keep going forever as long as distance is greater than 5. So what that means is that if my rover is looking for an obstacle and it doesn't see it, it's going to be stuck here forever. So even if I press the button while it's in this part of the code, it won't jump out of there. I don't want that. I want it to be able to jump out of the code even when it's looking for an obstacle. So what I can do is this. I can say if digital read to equal low, what do I want to do? I want to break. Okay, so it's like, okay, what's going on here? So what this says is that while I'm in this loop right here looking for an obstacle, I can also say if I press the button, I want you to break. What does break mean? Break means I want to break out of this while loop. So if I press the button, what should happen is that it should break out of this while loop, it should stop, and then going back to my code here, it should do the rest of this stuff and then continue on. Okay? So let's give this a shot and see how it works. Hopefully all modes working. Got to plug it in. Okay. I wonder if it'll all work. I'm not sure. And I'll have the code next to it. All right. So the first thing is right here, and you know what? I'm gonna go battery mode here. All right. So I'm powered on, and it should be doing this code right here. It's saying I'm just waiting for you to do something. Okay. So then once I press the button, it should do my 5 blinks. So I'm pressing the button. Look carefully. And there it goes, my 5 blinks. Very good. All right. Now it should be just chilling here. So once I press the button, it should do this code here. All right, I'm gonna press the button and then my light sensing should go. Okay. Let's make sure it's seems like my light sensing is little bit off here. You know what? I wonder if it has to do with the fact that I get more power here with my battery. I wonder if my... I just realized something. When I go battery power, it looks like my values are a little bit off now. So this 180 number seems to not work as well when I do battery. So let me see if I can fix that really quickly. All right, so I actually did some testing, and I kind of I cut in and cut out here. So actually, the better number should be 100. It seems like I made a mistake earlier. Okay, this should give me a better crossover point. Again, you're gonna have to experiment on your side as well. So I'm gonna change the number, a crossover point, from 100 for the light, and it should work better. Let me upload this again, and we'll give it a shot. All right, I'm gonna go battery mode. All right, press the button. I have light. Sorry, I saw you couldn't see there. All right, so press the button. There we go. And my light goes off. And then I press the button again. It should be light sensing mode now. All right, I'm gonna turn on my light. Perfect, working a lot better. And then I press my button again, and it should do obstacle mode. Yep. Okay. Now I want to get it to go into line following mode. So the thing is here, because of the way I've written my code, what I can do now is just hold down my button here, maybe for like a second or so, and then it should do it. Let's see. And I'm now in line follower mode. Go that way. Oh, got off track there. Let's see if we can go this way. There we go. All right. So I have all my code working. And let me just kind of fill you in a little bit. Why did I say to hold it down for a second or so? The reason I said to hold it down when I'm in my obstacle mode, if I want to make sure that it jumps out of this while loop, I want to make sure that I hold that button down while giving it time to do all four of these things, right? So I wrote code. Remember the break thing? If I go up here, I wrote code right here. I want to break out of the loop while my sensor is looking for an obstacle. So I have that taken care of. But also, let's say I take care of that, okay? But then also, I have a delay 1000, a move backward, delay 500, and a stop. Okay, if I press the button while it's doing these four things, it's going to totally ignore it, all right? So what I need to do is hold down the button to make sure that I'm still holding it even after these things are processed. So that's why I say, you should hold down the button for at least, we can kind of figure it out here. I have a delay 1000 here and a 500 here. So that's 1.5 seconds, and then these don't take up much time. So I would say to get out of your avoid obstacle mode, if you wrote your code just like me, hold it down for 2 seconds. What should happen is that it's going to stop for a second and then go into line follower mode. And then after that, it's just going to be stuck here forever until you turn off and kind of reset everything. All right, so there you go. So the getting the functions to work is nothing new. We've done that. The thing that's tricky about today's session is all these while loops and getting the button to react correctly. So the key things are this, okay? You make sure you put this delay 1000 after the while loops, because that helps it not get confused. So once you know that, it's like, okay, it's pretty straightforward. And then the other tricky thing is that we need to add this break statement inside. Can never find it. Break statement inside of the move to wall, okay, to make sure that we break out of the loop whenever we press the button, even if it is looking for an obstacle. That's number 2 point. And then the last point is that because if you do any moves after the move to wall, like what I have here, you have to make sure you hold the button long enough for it to still be held down after all the moves are done. Okay. All right. Well, that's all I have. Hopefully you have fun with that. Let me know how it goes. If you have any questions, feel free to email or even add comments to the video. All right. Take care.